And it's like you never really know how secure your data really is. Because
Hmm.
as much as people invest in security, it's just as much as people are investing in the opposite.
You got multiple things. If you have a computer, you probably have some kind of like malware virus protector, and a lot of
Yep.
those have built-in VPNs. Sometimes people don't have it; they just get the basics, the bare bones is what I call it, and they'll say, "Hey, I'll get myself a VPN." But the like what people need to understand, when you have a VPN service, it can only do so much for you. If you go to a website like Zoom and you have your VPN turned on
Mm-hmm.
and you put in your credentials, a lot of people do not know that you could have multiple passwords. They like to use the same one password for everything because it's such a convenience thing. And it's like, use different passwords.
You have to.
Like, you have to. You
You
have
have
to
to.
use different passwords, because if
And
as soon as they breach one, what happens?
you know, it's funny that you said that. I actually yesterday, my VPN actually gave me a prompt before I would use it. They're like, "It's time to update your password," and I was like, "Oh, I've never seen that happen before." And it literally told me you have to change it before you can use our service. And I'm like, I mean, if I have to, okay, but I mean, I'm thankful that they do these things, right? Because as humans, we have our own faults.
Yeah,
Sometimes we need those reminders, man. We need those reminders. So
I agree, and it's. I know we've touched about this about security,
yeah,
and we talked about how to put your passwords, like, like mixing special characters with
for sure.
numbers, uppercase, lowercase letters. You have to do stuff for something that you're going to remember. Like right here, you see, like, Next Level has the way he put everything, like big, small, big, small, big, small. That's great. What I would do, honestly, what I
It's
would
not my
do,
password, I swear.
I know it's not the password, but what I would do, like, I'm right now, I'm just looking at the numbers. I would leave the N as it is, the X as it is, the letter T. I might put like
A
the number
seven.
the number seven.
Yeah.
Number seven. The capital L, I'll leave it as is. The V, probably leave the V as is, and then the second L, I would probably put the number one
Or a capital I.
or a capital I. You know, there's so many things that you
Yeah.
can do. The letter E, I would do the number three. There's so many things. There's so many things that you can do. The H, the number four. There's
There's
so many things. Like, do you remember uh back in the day? Like, I'm about to age us right now. My I even had just my little eyebrow just twitched right now when I thought about it. Remember pagers?
yeah. I had a pager. Man, my pager had the game Brick Breaker on it, and there was a point in the game where you could leave the paddle in one spot and it would just keep going back and forth, and you could leave it there for the whole period.
Dude, remember when you were like the pagers were so funny to me. It was I had one too. I had one too. But they were so funny because you had to run to a phone to call them back.
Okay, but it wasn't that bad before because there were payphones everywhere.
There were payphones everywhere.
Everywhere. Now you can't find one.
But remember, people would used to page you with hello.
Mm-hmm. Or 911 or whatever.
Ooh.
Oops, yeah.
They would find ways to do it with numbers and
Yeah.
mix it around to put letters, and
Yeah.
it was fun. It was a very interesting time with those pagers, but you had a payphone everywhere.
Yeah.
With your passwords, you could virtually do the exact same thing you did with your pagers back in the day. And I know there's going to be a lot of younger people now that are probably going to say, "What's a pager? I don't know what a pager is." you know, um, Technology has just come around so far now that instead of saying thank you, they put ty.
Yeah, for sure. For
They
sure.
don't
There's
spell
new,
certain.
depending on which one of your friends you talk to, you'll have a different abbreviation language that you have to like know.
Yeah. So
It's like my cousins in the chat yesterday. We have a family chat, and they said, what did they say? DKM. And I was like, what's DKM? They're like, don't kill me. And I'm like, I've never heard this one before, but okay, I'll put it in my dictionary for when I'm having a conversation with you.
Yeah. And so when it's interesting that you say that too, because you could turn that into a password.
You could.
Password, numbers, abbreviation with stuff. There's so many avenues that you can take that with to keep yourself safe.
Now, just to, I guess, add on to what Rojas is saying here is, if you have difficulty coming up with these passwords, there's so many password managers out there as well too. And you can actually, in some of them, you can create presets. Like, you want it to be certain characters, you want it to be certain whatever, and it'll auto generate and it'll save them all for you in an encrypted login password with biometrics and all that kind of crazy things if you want it to be. But I mean, definitely, I would say do your research. Check out companies, check out reviews. There's even some companies that I'm pretty sure that we work with that have their own password managers. I know I work with a company that has a password manager as well too, but I haven't had the time, which I hate to say that, to really check out the software yet. And I need to, because we've had a conversation and we've mentioned it on some of our live streams too, where I was hacked, and that was a headache for a whole 2 weeks of my life, like trying to not only get my accounts back, but get my money back, because they went into PayPal and they went into my bank accounts and all that kind of crazy stuff. But I think the end of the day, all we're really trying to say is, if you choose to use any application, make sure that you do your own due diligence. Change your passwords. Don't use the same thing for more than one. Right? Make sure you do your own due diligence. No matter how much money companies like Zoom are dumping into their security now, somebody else is trying to, work around loopholes and all that kind of stuff, right? Security is kind of like, how do you say it? Security is like a response, right? Like, somebody will attack a loophole and they'll patch it. And then somebody will attack a new loophole and they'll patch it, right? So you have to be able to do your own due diligence. It's not always these companies' responsibilities.
Yeah, I totally agree.